Hello. We're here with Mr. Smith, my dad, who plays the organ, to answer some of our questions about this ginormous instrument. So, first things first.
Okay.
What is this instrument?
This is a pipe organ. A small pipe organ, 2 manuals and pedals.
What's a manual?
A manual is a set of keys.
So, like, this is a manual.
Yeah, this
and
would
then
be a
this
manual,
is a manual.
this is the manual, and that's a set of pedal boards. Or it is a pedal board.
Now, what do these things do?
These are called stops, and each one is a different sound. These here go for this manual, these 3 go for the pedals, and these 6 go for the bottom manual. And the pipes for these all are located up here. And the pipes for these are located over there.
Over there.
Slow down or I'll make them seasick.
We'll open that in a second.
Yeah.
So, each one of these makes a different sound.
Yes, each one is a row of pipes. So, here's one. And the more you add, the more sound you get. You ever heard this expression, pulling out all the stops?
What does that sound like? Wow.
That's all the stops.
So, how did you start playing the organ?
That's a fun question because when I was 13, 14, the organist at my church knew that I took piano lessons and said, "Hey, come here." She handed me a hymnal and said, "Pick out 4 hymns. Come back next Sunday." I said, "Okay." Came back the next Sunday and she goes, "You're playing this service." And so I did, and I played for the next 4 weeks. I played the same 4 hymns.
So
Every Sunday.
you played piano first.
Yes, I
So-
started piano when I was 6.
So what makes the organ different than a piano? Because it looks like a piano.
It has more power. That and there's more things to play with. A piano is a piano. No matter what you do, it's going to sound like a piano. With the organ, it was the first synthesizer because it imitates sounds. I mean, we have a trumpet. Oops, that one's supposed to be on.
There we go.
Okay. We have a trumpet. We have flutes. We have really nasty little reeds called, this one's called a regale, like a crumhorn.
I like that
Okay.
one.
And, just numerous different little sounds on there.
So we know that we classify our instruments by how they make their sounds and how their vibration happens to create their sound waves. So a piano, the strings are what make the sound, right?
And they're hit by
By the
hammers, so
hammers.
they're a percussion instrument, yes.
So what's an organ? How does it make it sound?
It is a wind instrument because the sound blows through the pipes up here.
So the vibration comes from the air blowing through the pipes.
Basically, it's a big panpipe, if you know what a panpipe is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And the
All
air
right.
goes through. Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about the organ?
It's hard to say. I like the power of the sound. I like being able to play very softly but very loudly at times. And it's just fun for me.
Now, we talk a lot about dynamics
Yes.
and the volume of our sound.
Mhm.
So how do you get dynamics on an organ? Because I know it's different than dynamics on a piano.
2 ways. The first one for this instrument, or the only one for this instrument, is how many of these you pull. There are stops that are very soft, like this one.
much louder. And the more you add, the louder you get. The less you have, the softer you get.
But it doesn't matter how hard you hit the keys, because on piano, if you play really hard, you get louder sound versus if you hit really softly.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
No matter how hard or soft you press the keys, you get the same sound.
You get the same sound. It's the same.
And does it ever stop?
No. With the pipe organ, as long as the wind is going in there, you play a note, and it will play.
It will just keep going.
And play until you take your finger off. Unlike a piano where you can play it and hold it, but it will fade out. The organ does not.
It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Now, the pipes.
Yes.
How big is the biggest pipe?
The biggest pipe on this instrument is 8 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
The wooden ones in the very back are 8 feet, but they have a stopper, so they actually play 16-foot sound.
So, like our boom whackers, when we put our octavator cap on the end, they get an octave lower. That's the same
Mhm.
sort of thing that you're doing here with the pipe
Exactly.
organ.
And we have different pitches for the organ too. If we start out 8 foot, that's what we go by on the organ. We go by footage. So an 8-foot stop is the same as a piano.
Now, can we hear the lowest note?
Yes, you want the lowest note. This is the lowest note on the instrument. Hopefully that will come across on the,
You can almost feel the vibrations.
yeah,
Can we hear the highest note?
highest note. I don't know if you can hear that either, but it's
Well,
like
so
way up
since
there.
we hear the highest note, how small is the smallest pipe? So there's more pipes over here.
Yes, and these are, you can see better because you can look inside. The smallest one we have in here is probably an inch or two tall. I won't take it out, but you can look down here.
It's all the way down
right
there.
here in the middle. I think that's the shortest one. And that's probably what you were hearing.
Now, all these pipes,
Yes.
they all have to be tuned.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Two different ways in this instrument. The first is these stoppers can be pulled out or in.
Okay.
So pushing it in makes it sharp, pulling it out makes it flat. Some of these are hardly tunable.
Especially the little ones.
These that have caps and the chimneys on them, they're called a chimney flute. They really can't be tuned. Once they were set to begin with, they don't move.
But they're made at a certain size, so they should be.
Right. They're not going
The
to
same
change
pitches.
because there's nothing for them to vibrate down.
Right.
Okay. These will go out of tune, but very slightly. Depends on the temperature and the humidity. They might get loose and they might, but these are actually in there very tight, so they shouldn't do that. Most of the metal pipes, you don't see any caps or anything. You see these little scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
If one is too sharp, they can
You can roll it out a little.
roll it down a little
roll
bit,
it down.
and it makes it a little flatter. If they want it sharper, they have to unroll it.
Huh.
The other pipes that don't have that, they're done by something called cone tuning.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually take something that looks like an arrow, but it's made out of metal. On one end has a point, and they can push the point into the hole.
Are those the ones with the little caps on them?
No,
No?
that would be like these. I can't see another one that would do that, but these like this. Okay.
Mhm.
Any ones that have an open top like that, they would push the point in. If they want it to go flat, they push it in, and it flares the top out.
Oh, okay.
If they want it sharper, they turn it over, and it's like
And then it
it's like
kinda
a
compresses,
cone.
yeah.
So they can push it in and pushes the edges in.
Huh.
So that would sharpen it up.
So every single one of these pipes is attached to a note, which is
Yes.
attached to a stop, which is
Yes.
attached to the air.
Yes.
So when you pull a stop, what happens to the air?
What happens to the air? Well, if you don't have the stop pulled, nothing is going to happen. You can play the keys all you want.
It like shuts the.
It just shuts everything off.
Okay.
Now, these are arranged so that the same note are all on what we call one channel.
Okay.
So when I go over here, it's called a slider chest. Basically, it has holes in it.
And when the stop is not pulled, the holes don't match up. When you pull the stop, it matches the holes up.
So it
for
allows
that
the
row of
air to go
pipes.
through.
So when I press the key down, it opens the valve for that channel, and any pipe on that channel that the stop is pulled will play.
Now, when did you start playing the organ? What age?
14.
And you've been playing for a lot of years.
Yeah. We're talking close to 50 years now, 51 years.
So, what advice would you have for somebody who plays piano who might be interested in playing the organ?
Find an organist and ask them to give you some lessons.
So maybe like a college or like
Oh, no.
a church?
A church probably
or-
most likely, because that's where you're going to find most organists if there are any around still.
Because churches, or organs generally tend to be in churches.
There used to be a lot in concert halls, but those have gotten fewer and fewer because we just don't have people that do that. And there aren't that many pieces written for orchestra and organ.
So, if somebody already plays piano, would it be an easy step to kind of like, or not necessarily easy, but would it be easier if they already knew how to play piano?
Yes, in fact, they used to say, now they're not saying that anymore, but they used to say you should have a couple of years of piano before you try taking the organ, because you have to have at least some dexterity and be able to know where the notes are. Also, you have to remember when you're playing the organ, you have to hold the keys down for as long as you want it to play.
Right, where piano you can let it go.
Yeah, you can let go and put your foot
Put the
down
pedal
on the
down,
pedal
yeah.
down, and it'll sustain for you. But the organ doesn't do that.
'Cause
As soon
I
as
know-
you move your finger, it stops.
I know a lot of you guys already take piano lessons and can play piano really well. So I know I always get lots of questions about, well, how do I even go and play the organ?
Just go to church and ask.
Nope. Now, I was watching in your recording with you playing with your feet. Can you tell us about your shoes?
Oh yes, these are called Organ Master shoes. You can get different shoes besides the Organ Masters, but these are designed so that they have a heel of at least 1 inch, because there are times when you have to reach across notes. So the heel helps out with that. The other thing, you can see this is leather, and so is the covering on the heel, so it can slide. If you have rubber heels or you want to play in tennis shoes,
You're gonna
gonna
stick.
stick on the keys.
So my boots wouldn't work.
No. Although they say Bach played in boots.
Did he?
So yeah. But instruments were a little bit different back then. I mean, they weren't quite as refined as they are now.
Is there anything else that you think we haven't asked? Are you thinking of anything, Mom?
How about showing us how that heel and toe works on the foot pedal?
Let me see here.
So you kind of rock your foot back and forth.
You do. You have to have a bench too that fits you. This one is tall for me, so I have to sit on the edge to be able to reach. There's one part I think you saw in the part I played before where I had to go. Sticking right now, not doing well as I used to.
That's okay. You'll see it in the
Yeah.
in the piece that we recorded.
So you're going out for Dancing with the Stars, right?
Ah, right. Can't dance.
Do you,
I can play the pedals, but I can't dance.
can you make that sound spooky?
What are you talking about, like this?
that one in our spooky listening here soon.
I'll probably play that one this year at Halloween.
Well, thank you for taking the time for talking to us and talking to our classes over at school.
Anytime. Too bad we can't take a field trip down here.
That would be cool if we could see a real live organ in person. But thank you for taking the time to talk to us and show us all the cool things about the organ.
You're welcome.
And as John Jacobson says,
Be nice to your teacher.
or we'll come down. Well,